भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासा ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यां भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, Text number 17. Purnaha Pulindya Urugaya Padabja Raga Shri Kunkumena Daita Stana Manditena Tat Darshana Smara Ruja Trina Rushitena Limpantya Anana Kucheshu Jaho Tat Adhi. Purna Pulindya Urugaya Padabja Raga Shri Kunkumena Daitastana Manditena Tadarshana Smararujastrina Rushitena Limpantya Anana Kucheshu Jahustadade. Purna Pulindya Urugaya Padabja Raga Shri Kunkumena Daitastana Manditena Tadarshana Smararujastrina Rushitena Limpantya Anana Kucheshu Juhostadade. Purna Pulindya Urugaya Padabja Raga Shri Kunkumena Daita Sanamanditena Tadarshana Smararujastrina Rushitena Limpantya Anana Kucheshu Jaustad Adhim. Kunkumena Daitastana Manditena Tadarshana Smararujastrina Rushitena Limpantya Anana Kucheshu Jahostadade. Purna Pulindya Urugaya Padabja Raga kumena darshana smarajastina rushitena limpantya anana kucheshu jahostadadim Purna Pulandya Urgaya Padabjaraga Shri Kunkumena Daitasana Manditena Tadarshana Smararujastina Rushitena Lempantya anana kucheshu jahostadadim. Mataji. Purna Pulinda Urgaya Padabjaraga Shri Kunkumena Daitasana Manditena Tadarshana Smararujastina Rushitena Limpantyanana Kucheshu Jahastadadim Purna fully satisfied. Pulindya the wives of the Shabara tribe. Urugaya of Lord Krishna. Padabja from the lotus feet. Raga of reddish color. Shri Kunkumena by the transcendental kumkum powder. Daita of his girlfriends. Stana the breast. Manditena which had decorated. Tat of that. Darshana by the sight. Smara of Cupid. Rujaha feeling the torment. Trina upon the blades of grass. Rushitena attached. Limpantya smearing. Anana upon their faces. Kucheshu and breast. Jaho they gave up. Tat that. Adhim mental pain. Translation. The Aboriginal women of the Vrindavan area become disturbed by lust when they see the grass marked with reddish kumkum powder. Endowed with the color of Krishna's lotus feet, this powder originally decorated the breasts of his beloveds. And when the Aboriginal women smear it on their faces and breasts, they give up all their anxiety. Purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Purport. Srila Prabhupada explains this verse as follows. Quote, the wanton Aboriginal girls also became fully satisfied when they smeared their faces and breasts with the dust of Vrindavan, which was reddish from the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. The Aboriginal girls had very full breasts and they were also very lusty. But when their lovers felt their breasts, they were not very satisfied. When they came out in the midst of the forest, they saw that while Krishna was walking, some of the leaves and creepers of Vrindavan turned reddish from the kumkum powder that fell from his lotus feet. His lotus feet were held by the gopis on their breasts, which were also smeared with kumkum powder. But when Krishna travelled in the Vrindavan forest with Balaram and his boyfriends, the reddish powder fell on the ground of the Vrindavan forest. So the lusty Aboriginal girls, while looking toward Krishna playing his flute, saw the reddish kumkum on the ground and immediately took it and smeared it over their faces and breasts. In this way, they became fully satisfied, although they were not satisfied when the lovers touched their breasts. All material lusty desires can be immediately satisfied if one comes in contact with Krishna consciousness. Unquote. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nite Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas here to speak on this particular topic today. So in this particular purport, the key point, or the key sentence is the last sentence. All material lusty desires can be immediately satisfied if one comes in contact with Krishna consciousness. Krishna Bhaira Mukha Jiva Bhoga Vancha Kare Nikatastha Mayatare Chapati Adare. Very nice verse. One of the first verses I actually learned, but such a deep meaning this particular verse has is from Prema Vivarta Puran. That as soon as a living entity tries to enjoy separate from Krishna, then what happens? Maya is next to the living entity and Jhapati Adhare puts him in this world of illusion. In fact, as soon as we forget Krishna, we are victims of this illusory energy. And victim means what Prabhupada mentions is that, a person tries, or a living entity tries to enjoy through his senses. And he tries all out to enjoy. Unlimited desires the living entity has to enjoy, and he tries to utilize all the available resources to do that. No dearth of all these desires. Like a joke was there. Somebody desired that he should have a lot of money and he should be surrounded by women. So Lord fulfilled desire. So next birth he got the job of a bus conductor of a ladies bus, where he had a lot of money in his pocket and is surrounded by women. Huh? The problem is that the desires are unlimited, but you do not know whether the desires which you are desiring, are they good for you or not. Huh? But everyone in this world, as Prabhupada mentions, that, runs here and there just to fulfill their desires. That's all, nothing else. In fact, that is what Prabhupada says is the advancement of material civilization. Very nice way he has put it. That what you call is advance of material civilization is nothing but, everyone is trying to fulfill their own material desires. That's all, nothing else. And he runs here and there just to fulfill those desires, And he goes mad after it. He doesn't realize that where is he heading to, what is his goal of life. He doesn't realize that. You just go on the platform now at 9 o'clock, you will find everyone's running. Huh? But nobody knows where he's running. Huh? That's the point. So, Prabhupada says that, a person, because of not having the right desire, he just goes on accumulating so many things. In fact, all the advertisements, hoardings and everything, they only agitate our senses. And a person who otherwise would not even want it would like to have it. Like, you can have the hoardings of two prominent things. One is different mobiles and the other is different buildings or apartments. Every 1 minute drive, you'll find, some other advertisement of either the mobile, a brand new or the latest mobile, or probably, a place where you can stay, heaven to stay. So you think that, unless until I stay or buy an apartment and stay in that particular place, I will not be happy. Or unless until I get that new phone in my hand, I will not be happy. So which otherwise probably you would not require, but then you try to acquire and make extra attempt to just acquire those things. And everyone does that. Everyone is after those, achieving those things. And that's what happens here in this material world. I still remember His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj. He was giving a class in Somaya College. He was saying that there are only two types of people in this world. One is a maximizer and one is a satisfizer. Maximizer means, he tries to acquire more and more and more and tries to maximize his, things, acquisitions. And he's not satisfied with whatever he has. And the other one is satisfizer. One is satisfied with whatever he is. But he says most of the people in this world are the maximizers. They try to achieve and they're not satisfied with what they achieve and they go on achieving more and more and more. And this is why? Because the propensity is there to enjoy. Everyone has that, natural desire to enjoy. Because the Jivatma is Sachidananda, but then he is trying to find the enjoyment in the wrong place. Prabhupada mentions that selfish desire, that is what makes a person go ahead and try to achieve. In one place, in one of the conversations, Prabhupada mentions that, the person tries to achieve certain great things, like someone wants to become a politician, somebody wants to become an industrialist, somebody wants to become maybe a great musician or singer. All these are nothing but that strong propensity to enjoy. You want to achieve something and that is want to satisfy the senses and that's why you go ahead. So everyone is after name, fame, prestige and also power. We find in the Shastras that how Hiranyakashipu, he had everything in this world, but he wanted to achieve everything. He did tapasya just to become immortal. Why? Because then he can enjoy unlimitedly. That's what was Hiranyakashipu. Ravan, example of Ravan is there. Like what all things you can name, and he already had that. His palace was a palace made of gold. He had so many wives whom he can enjoy. Everything at his disposal was there. but still he wanted to enjoy more. When he came to know from his sister Surpanaka that, Sita is more beautiful, he wanted to achieve. And he was ready to go to any extent to go and acquire Sita as his wife. Prabhupada, mentions of the recent past also. How Hitler, Napoleon, all these great rulers, what was the reason for their thing? It's just a selfish desire. They just wanted to achieve something. And Prabhupada mentions because of which he got a whole country into a war. A fatal war of, First World War led to Second World War and led to destruction of Germany. And for what reason? It's just that Hitler had this desire. He wanted to become a power monger. He wanted to become someone who can be great and exercise his control over everyone. So this selfish motives is what actually propels one to acquire things in this material world. And it said that, there's a particular verse. It says, Atmenira priti vancha tari bale kam. What is actually lust is that whatever one does for his achievement or for his satisfaction of his own enjoyment is what is lust. And the greatest, exhibition of that lust in this material world is the attraction of man and woman. When a man becomes attracted to a woman or when a woman becomes attracted to a man, that the greatest exhibition of lust. The underlying principle here is what? That each one wants to enjoy the other. That's the thing. Man wants to enjoy the woman and the woman wants to enjoy the man. And the whole world is revolving around this principle of attraction to each other. And said that when a man is attracted to a woman or when a woman is attracted to a man, Cupid shoots his 5 arrows. And what are those 5 arrows? The first arrow is what? As soon as a man gets attracted to a woman or a woman gets attracted to a man, the first is that he becomes completely bewildered. That's the first arrow. That's Mohan. And as soon as he gets bewildered, deluded, then what happens? Then he becomes stunned. He forgets what he's supposed to do. Stamban. And when he becomes completely stunned, forgets what he's supposed to do, then what becomes? He becomes intoxicated. Unmad. And after he becomes intoxicated, then what happens? He becomes social. He becomes intensely attracted to that opposite sex. And then ultimately Tapan. The 5th arrow pierces his heart and he starts burning within his heart. And he forgets everything. That's what Cupid does with the 5 arrows. So in this material world, you find that, this particular 5 arrows, they pierce each and everyone's heart. Especially when there is attraction between the opposite sex. Whenever a man gets attracted to a woman, or when a woman gets attracted to a man, and when the desire in his heart is there to enjoy, then what happens? These 5 arrows are shot. And then when these 5 arrows are shot, then what happens? Then the end result is that you fall into lusty desires, lusty activities. And that, Srila Prabhupada mentions, is the most embarrassing situation for a living entity. In fact, the living entity is already embarrassed. The very reason that the living entity is fallen into this material world, trying to enjoy separate from Krishna, he is already embarrassed in that situation. He is supposed to be in the spiritual world enjoying with Krishna, but then he is here struggling with his mind and senses. That's one thing. But otherwise also, like when he's getting attracted to the opposite sex, then the living entity, the person becomes more embarrassed. It's the most embarrassing situation. Externally also it's the most embarrassing situations. You find that the great politicians, the great kings, the rulers, even the person who is having that intelligence also, everyone's bewildered by that. We find in the Srimad Bhagavatam the stories of the various kings who have fallen prey to such desires. One example I can speak about is Pururava. Like Pururava was a great king, the great ruler. But then, he just had a meeting with Urvashi, and then he desired to enjoy. Urvashi laid a condition that I should not see you naked, except when we have relation, only that time, otherwise I should not see you naked at any time. He accepted that condition. And he wanted to enjoy that, and enjoy for many years. But then, one day came, when in the middle of the night, some lamps were stolen, and then Urvashi just got up. He said, my lamps are stolen. What is this man doing here? Like a fool sleeping on this bed and not doing anything. And suddenly Pururava got up in that same naked manner, went outside because he wanted to show his manliness. But then Pururava was naked at that time and Urvashi left. And Pururava became mad. He became mad after, wanted to have our association again. And then later on in 11th canto, particular mention of Pururava is there. How he again enjoyed Urvashi, but then afterwards, when Urvashi left, he realized that what mistake he has done. He said that I am a great ruler, but then ultimately when I came in contact with woman, I became like an animal in front of woman. All my intelligence, my power, my opulence, everything went away. Just because of an association with this woman. He says, I've been kicked like how a she-ass kicks. And I was appearing as if like an insignificant person in front of this. So this is what a situation that a person faces actually. A very, very embarrassing situation. Muchukunda also, when he meets Krishna, he says that, I may be a powerful person, but then when I come in front of my wife, I kneel down before my wife. So that is the situation. Now, when such people, personalities in Srimad Bhagavatam mention what to speak of any of us insignificant people here in this material world, who can be at any time be victimized by this illusory energy, with the attraction of the opposite sex. And that's what happens. Here with the constant bombardment of so many advertisements and everything, even go on the net, just open a simple, web page also, you will find something on a side which can take your mind away and force you to, do things which you're not supposed to do. And then we find in the newspapers so many things, so many activities. A politician engages something and then he's put in a very embarrassing situation. He has to leave his post of a prime minister. Somebody, a sportsman engages in some lady and then ultimately he's in papers and then he has to, give away all his wealth and property. Somebody is put into jail because, some connection in some way illegally. And so many ways somebody can be put in that embarrassing situation. And then embarrassing situation is really embarrassing. Like sometimes your name, fame, everything will be lost. Of course, in this material world, nothing is permanent. That's why Prabhupada mentions that when somebody when you have that strong desire to enjoy and you become a great man, ultimately it will be only for some time. After some time, you are going to be back to square A. Somebody who is a sportsman or a sportswoman, achieving all the laurels for many years, then one day he has or she has to face an embarrassing situation. Recently, a sports person was there, a tennis person who had so many, trophies to his name. And in the recent tennis, he lost in the first round. Very embarrassing situation. 1 month before, he was a king of tennis. And now, on the first round of this, he's lost. So Krishna can put anyone in that embarrassing situation, just to make us aware that you are not the controller. You cannot have the way you want all the time. The embarrassing situation is always there. What to speak of when you're engaging such activity? So embarrassing situation is there. Like, even in Ajamil's case, Brahma, our Acharya, when he, wanted to go after the daughter to enjoy, suddenly he was stopped. And he came back to his senses and realized his mistake. So like that we find in the Shastras so many. Prabhupada gives example of how great warriors have fallen victim to this. Gives an example of Antony and Cleopatra. Gives an example of Bajirao. So all these great rulers, have become puppets in the hands of women. So that's why Prabhupada mentions that in earlier times they used to employ Vishakanyas. They send women who were infested with poison. Right from childhood they have been injected with poison so that whenever they engage in some activity, physical activity, the poison goes to the person and then person just leaves. Forget about that. Otherwise also, when you come under the influence of the opposite sex, you lose all control of yourself. And then you become completely bewildered. So it is said that, unless somebody is very strong in knowledge and he has patience and he has proper bodily, mental and intellectual behavior, he cannot control these lusty desires. In one of his lectures, His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj was very nicely quoting one wonderful statement. He said that lust is when we see opposite sex not as a person but as a thing. Very nice point actually. He says when we see somebody as an object of enjoyment, that means we consider somebody as a thing and not as a person, that is what is lust, he says. And he gives an example of Marilyn Monroe. He says Marilyn Monroe mentioned that I hate being a thing. Maharaj says in that lecture, he said she was a sex symbol. And symbol is a thing. But she said at that time, he said, I never felt loved as a person, but was only used as a thing. Because she was such a beautiful lady at that time, she was just appreciated or she was just, glorified just because of her bodily features. But she as a person says that she was never felt loved as a person, but as a thing. That was a problem. So this is the main situation. So Maharaj in that class is mentioning that, when only you change your consciousness from a selfish desire to a selfless service, then only you'll be able to overcome these lusty desires. Otherwise, difficult for anyone to do that. Till the time you have an enjoyment propensity, till that time you will not be able to overcome these lusty desires at all. It's only when you change from selfish to selfless service, then only you can overcome the lusty desires. It said that unless and until you have a strong association and cultivating the proper desire, you will not be able to overcome. So what is required is a strong association of Vaishnavas. And when we associate with the Vaishnavas who are very strong, then what happens is that you overcome this. Why? Because then you get a higher taste. You get the higher taste, you get to engage in something which is something higher. Otherwise, even among devotee circles, when you engage in some devotional service, if you have that propensity to enjoy the service also, then there's no difference between enjoying anything material and enjoying anything spiritual also. It's only when you think of nothing but service, then you'll be able to overcome this particular aspect, what is called as desire. It is said that, we have an independence to be a hero of this material world or to be the hero of the spiritual world. Material world means you can become a businessman, you can become an industrialist, you can become a politician by trying to satisfy your senses. You can do that and enjoy this material world. And you can become a hero. You can become a hero of this material world. But then what is really important to know is that ultimately everything is going to be met with frustration. And Prabhupada in that particular place mentions that you can become a spiritual hero. By how? By becoming a master of the senses. How you can become a master of the senses? By serving the person who is the master of senses. In the sense, Rishikena. So when you serve Krishna and his devotees in a mood of service, in selfless service, then you can conquer over these desires. Examples of Haridas Thakur. Mayadevi personally came in front of him to seduce Haridas Thakur. And this is not from the Satyuga or Treta Yuga, it's in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, things are much more worse. But here, Haridas Thakur, Ramchandra Khan sent a prostitute to bewilder Haridas Thakur. And she would have been a person who could have bewildered anyone, because she was known for that. But then Haridas Thakur, because he had taken full shelter of the holy name, because of that, she could not do that. On the contrary, because of Haridas Thakur's association, prostitute herself became a devotee. That was a change. That was the power of association, that Haridas Thakur could change the prostitute. She had come to bewilder Haridas Thakur, but Haridas Thakur bewildered the prostitute and made her into a devotee. That was the power, which otherwise is not possible at all. How is it possible otherwise? Right? So here in this particular purport, this particular mention is there about the gopis. It said, Atmendriya pritivancha tare bale kama, Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare tare nam. Prema nam. It says Krishnendriya pritivancha. The gopis had this particular quality, that they just wanted to only please Krishna, that's all, nothing else. And that is love. I remember Gaurang Prabhu mentions in one of these classes, he says, what is real love? Real love means where there is all reason for the relation to break, but the relation still doesn't break, still remains. That is real love. And when is it possible? Only when you have that intimate connection with the Lord, when you try to serve the Lord in mood of selflessness. And that was the nature of the gopis. The gopis never had any tinge of selfish desires. They just wanted to serve Krishna. They were ready to go to any extent to please Krishna. Aslishyava padartam pinashtamam adarshanan marmavato kurutubha yatha tatava vidadhatu lampato mat prananata swayam. This is the 8th verse of Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, where it said that whether you make me broken hearted or you embrace me, I will be your servant unconditionally. That is what is required actually. That's why of all the devotees, the gopis are supposed to be the highest. Why? Because of this one particular quality, that of selfless service and desire only to please Krishna. They had no other motives at all. And that's the reason the gopis are the topmost of the devotees. So it is said that, when we, in our devotion service, we may have a propensity to enjoy a particular service. But then, if we have the consciousness that this is a service I am doing to please the person who has given me service, and if that is our meditation, then by doing the service, we get that enjoyment. The enjoyment comes naturally, in the sense the pleasure. Krishna becomes pleased. When you see Krishna pleased and the devotee is pleased, then naturally you become pleased. Otherwise, the propensity will be there to enjoy. Even the service which we do also, we may have the propensity to enjoy. But then, when we do that, then we put ourselves in a very, very precarious situation. So if we meditate on this particular aspect, that, whatever service is given to us, if we just serve in that mood of no selfish desires for ourselves, just that want to serve because I want to please the person who has asked me to serve, then, we are in the very, very safe position. Otherwise, we can put ourselves in a very embarrassing situation also. Right? If our desire is that, that's why, all the time, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj will always say, with the right motives, cultivate the right desire to serve in a service attitude, proper service attitude. So that proper service attitude is very important for all of us. And if you have that proper service attitude, then, there's no fear. At any situation, in any condition of life that we are in, we can always be very firm, placed, provided we have that right attitude. Otherwise, we'll be like Hiranyakashipu or Ravan. And then, we'll be just accumulating more and more and more and more and more desires. That's all, nothing else. And then one day we'll have to face the same situation which Ravan has faced, Hiranyakashipu has faced, and all the great, so-called great people have faced. There's no dearth in this material world for enjoyment. You can enjoy, go on enjoying. Like I know one person who is from my field. He doesn't sleep only. Like he works till 3 o'clock in the morning. And again he gets up and again starts working from 8 o'clock. If anybody wants for dental problem, in the middle of the night you can come to me. I can tell you where to go. Why? Because he wants to go on, enjoying. But problem with it is that you want to enjoy, but where are you enjoying? You're not enjoying also the fruits of your action. You're not enjoying the fruits of your action also. There's a person whom I know who earns in a 6-figure in a month, but doesn't have time to even have his lunch also. So what he does is that he comes down from his building and there is a vada pav wala just outside his building. Just buys 2 vada pavs and eats very quickly and goes away. So there is no time for him to enjoy what he's earning also. That's a problem. So even our so-called enjoyment in this world is also very superficial. Because what are we doing? We are not even enjoying what we are earning also. So even that is also frustration. But we think we are enjoying. Right? But the real mood, as His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj again in that particular place, he was mentioning that when we are in the mood of service and serve the devotees, serve others, he says then you really get that pleasure. You really get a pleasure because the nature of the living entity is to serve. The nature of living entity is not to enjoy. Krishna Nityadas. Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. So when the living entity serves in that situation, then the living entity enjoys. So living entity never will be happy when he is enjoying. He will be happy only when he is serving. So this is the one thing which I liked it. So ultimately, all material lusty desires can be able to satisfied if one comes in contact with Krishna consciousness. That is the sum and substance of this particular purport. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.